Today marks the 12th video on the hypnotic and psychological techniques used in a variety of ways to influence your decision making, your opinions, and your beliefs. In today's video, I'm going to share some practical tips to recognize and resist that manipulation in our daily life in media and social situations. So let's get started. Have you ever bought something that you really didn't need after seeing an ad that everyone was talking about? Or maybe you felt pressure to agree with somebody because they just seemed confident or authoritative, or perhaps they were a friend. That's persuasion at work. And when it's subtle or manipulative, it can feel like you're not fully in control of your own choices. So, persuasion is part of everyday life, from marketing campaigns to social dynamics to politics and religion. It shapes the way we think, the way we feel, and ultimately the way we act. But that doesn't mean that we're powerless against it, because by understanding how persuasion works and learning to recognize its tactics, we can take back our decision-making power. So, first, the basics. What do I mean when I use the word influence? Well, influence is the ability to shape someone's thoughts and feelings and beliefs or actions without them realizing it. And they do this by appealing to emotions, logic, or social norms. And while persuasion isn't inherently negative, it's often used in ways that bypass our ability to critically think. And it shows up in a big way in politics and religion. And if you haven't watched those early episodes on these topics, I encourage you to do that. It's in ads, in social media, in the workplace, and even in your everyday conversation with friends. And it works because humans are wired to seek shortcuts. We trust authority figures, we follow the crowd, and we react to emotions more than logic. Now, influence, like I said, isn't necessarily bad. It can inspire greatness or it can encourage us to make better choices. It can encourage unity or guide positive change. But when it becomes manipulative, pushing you to act against your values or critical thinking, well, that's a problem. And that's what today's video is about, spotting those manipulative techniques so that you can take back control. In past episodes, I've covered specific tactics. And today, we're going to review three of them in particular: emotional triggers, social proof, and authority bias. So let's start with emotional triggers because these are everywhere. Ads, news, headlines, and even people often play on your emotions to bypass your rational thinking. And fear is the most potent emotions that is used in manipulation. For example, political ads might emphasize threats to make you act out of fear instead of logic. And media outlets know that emotions drive clicks, shares, and viewer engagement. And when you feel strongly about something, you're more likely to remember it, to react to it, and to spread the message. For example, a news article might have the headline, "Are you in danger? Experts say yes." And that is going to immediately spark fear, pulling you into feeling anxious before you even read the content. There'll be heartwarming stories with emotional music used in TV segments, and that's designed to create a sense of trust in the broadcaster. So how do you resist this? Well, the next time you consume media, pause and ask yourself some questions. How does this make me feel? Is the headline designed to provoke me emotionally or to present facts? Is there evidence to support what I'm being told here? Separating your initial emotional reaction from information can help you evaluate the message in a much more critical way. Let's move on to social proof. This is the idea that if other people are doing it, you should too. And it's really common in marketing and social circles. So humans are just basically social creatures, and persuasion thrives on our need to fit into specific groups. And you see this everywhere as well. Think of reviews on products, influencers who endorse brands, or even groupthink in meetings. For example, you might find an online review with top rated or most popular labels, and this creates a bandwagon effect, pushing you to think that those choices are the best ones. Peer pressure in social settings often make us go along with the group so that we don't feel like outsiders. Here's how to resist that. First, take a step back and consider, does this product or idea align with my actual needs or values rather than what somebody else is doing? Am I simply agreeing to avoid conflict or judgment? And look for credible sources. I mean, just because something is popular doesn't mean it's right for you or that it's even true to begin with. So ask yourself, what do I actually need? What do I actually believe before you follow the crowd? By questioning herd mentality, you can stop yourself from blindly following the crowd. And lastly, there's authority bias. We are much more likely to trust somebody in a position of authority or expertise, even if they're wrong. For instance, think of celebrity endorsements that have absolutely nothing to do with the product, or professionals telling you what to do without context. For example, you might see a headline, doctors recommend. This is common in toothpaste commercials, and they use a professional dressed up in a lab coat to lend credibility. Influencers on sites like Instagram or here on YouTube frequently promote products that they may not even use, but their status adds weight to their recommendation. So, how do you resist this? Once again, ask yourself questions. Is this person truly qualified to recommend this product or idea? Do they benefit financially or socially by persuading me? Start checking the credentials and motives behind the authority figure because this can prevent you from just having blind trust. Are they an actual expert on the topic? Are they just an actor? Or are they just looking to persuade you? While persuasion can range from helpful to harmless, manipulation often crosses into unethical territory. And breaking free from influence isn't about shutting out the world. It's about becoming more mindful of how external forces affect your thoughts and actions. So here are the most common manipulative tactics and your defensive steps to resist that manipulation and to stay in control. First, scarcity and urgency. Marketers often use scarcity to create FOMO, the fear of missing out. Phrases like limited availability or offer ends tomorrow pressure you into making snap decisions without time to think critically. The resist tip for that. Pausing is always your best weapon. Step away from the moment, investigate if the urgency is real, and assess whether it's something that you actually want or need. Because manipulation thrives on urgency, but pausing puts you back into control. Then we have guilt and obligation. Ever had anybody say, after everything I've done for you to get you to act in a certain way? Manipulators may exploit your sense of guilt to ensure compliance with their request. How do you resist that? Well, first of all, recognize when guilt is being used against you. Ask yourself whether the obligation is fair or simply a tool to control your actions. Overwhelming. So people get overwhelmed with information. When you're bombarded with too many details, whether it's technical jargon in a contract or lengthy arguments in a debate, it becomes harder to make an informed decision. This information overload tactic relies on confusion to push you into agreeing passively, to kind of say, okay, enough already, I'll do it. So, how do you resist that? Simplify and clarify. Focus on just the key points and don't feel rushed to make a decision. Take your time to process the information at a pace that's comfortable for you. Ask questions because curiosity is your greatest ally. Never take things at face value. Dig deeper. Ask questions like, who benefits if I agree to this? Is this information backed by credible evidence? Gather information, ask questions, check multiple sources, dig deeper, because the more informed you are, the harder it is for someone to manipulate you. And trust your instincts, because that gut feeling that something's off, well, often it's your subconscious mind picking up on subtle cues of manipulation. Our brains are hardwired to look for danger, so learn to trust it. And if something feels wrong, take a minute to explore why. If something feels off, it probably is. Often, your instincts can pick up on manipulation before your brain fully processes it. Next, educate yourself. Understanding common persuasion tactics like emotional appeals, repetition, and appeals to authority makes you less susceptible to them because the more you recognize tricks, the easier it gets to resist them. Stay grounded, stay mindful. Influence is everywhere, but you can control it and how it affects you by staying present and aware that it exists, that it's out there everywhere. So practices like mindfulness, journaling, or simply just taking a break from digital input can help you stay connected to your own values, your own priorities. Because when you're centered, it's much harder for external forces to sway you. The world is full of messages that are designed to influence you, but influence doesn't have to mean control. By staying aware, asking questions, and developing strategies that work for you to manage manipulation, you can take back your decision-making power. So, what about you? Have you experienced a moment of manipulation that you later recognized and possibly regretted? Or do you have tips that have helped you resist that manipulation or influence? If so, drop them in the comments below because I'd love to hear your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe for more tips and tools to empower your life. Empower yourself is the best message I can give you. The greatest protection against influence is to use your courage to think critically and act authentically. By staying informed, reflecting on your choices, and trusting yourself, you can take back control of your decisions, no matter how much noise is out there. I'm Roberta Fernandez, and this is Mindful Influences.